do we start this? Hello and welcome to the Amateur Detective Club. My name is Tristan Miller, the Saucy Sleuth.
My name is Melissa Meli, the Spy.
And I'm Tyler Riley, a.k.a. Jennifer Lopez was snubbed by the Academy Awards.
Very good.
It was a J-Lo blow on their part.
It was not cool.
Today's show is brought to you by Audible. Audible is offering our listeners a free audiobook with a 30-day trial membership. Just go to audibletrial.com/adcbod and browse the unmatched selections of audio programs. Download a title free and start listening. It's that easy. That's audibletrial.com/adcpod. I'm listening to Junkyard Planet by, I think, Adam Minter, which is all about the scrap and recycling industry.
Oh.
It's very interesting.
Oh, boy.
And then I have from my local library, but I'm sure it's available on Audible. Where Do We Go From Here? The Bernie Sanders book about the election and post-election of 2016.
Fascinating.
And at one point, two things. He keeps calling Trump a phony, which I think is perfect in so many ways. And number two, at one time, he is talking about how many tweets, retweets, and likes a tweet he got. And I'm like, this is why I think he represents my best interests, because the man understands that SEO. Anyway, today we're talking about season 3, episode 2, technically, because one of them, the first episode, is a TV movie that wasn't available in our region or through our service, so we were going to have to come back to that. And so it's called How Does Your Garden Grow? It's season 3, episode 2 of Agatha Christie's
Yes, we kick off this episode, if I remember correctly. Poirot is at a barbershop or some sort of parlor.
Sure. Mm-hmm. Something like that.
So he's getting like all gussied up, and
I guess he is.
The man, Mr. Trumper, is.
I hardly know her. We're back. We haven't recorded in like a month, and so I'm going full force into this nonsense.
You got to. So Mr. Trumper is asking him to settle his account, and Poirot like kind of shoos him off and like, Miss Lemon will take care of it. I have places to be. And he's like, where are you going? He's like, I am going to be a pink rose.
And the guy is like, bruh? It's like, is that a euphemism? Is that...
No, but in fact, there's a, Garden Society?
Yeah.
Yes, the Royal Horticulture Society.
Great. Is honoring Poirot by naming a rose after him, which is the purest thing ever.
A rose by any other name would
not be
allergenic.
Yep.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. So that happens. And then we cut to the family of this woman. Is that right?
I believe that we cut to some sort of like. It seemed to me like it's almost like a station, but it wasn't a station, or like some like.
It's an embassy.
Okay.
It's the
like
Russian
area.
embassy. The waiting area in the Russian embassy. And two people are meeting.
Yes.
And then we cut to the family, and the Russian woman is the...
caretaker.
Yeah, the caretaker of this woman, this very elderly woman.
Miss Barabee.
Yes.
I'm so glad that Tyler remembers people's names.
Yeah, I know. I have no affinity for that. Thank you so much.
The Russian woman's name is Katrina. I did remember that.
Yes.
There you go. I got one.
Katrina Grieger.
Oh, well, there you go.
Yeah,
just showing me up.
No, because it becomes important later.
Yes.
I guess. I paid so close attention. No, I did. I watched
I like this one a lot.
We'll talk about it.
Later.
We'll get to it. So, yeah. So you see her taking care of the family, and she has, the woman, and the woman has her... niece and nephew, or a married couple,
and her
niece's husband. Yeah.
Sidebar, I have a note of this exact actor's name. He is on a very good show called My Hero, which is about a superhero trying to like live a double life. It's a sitcom. It's very good. I grew up watching it. It's really hard to find, but it's from the BBC. His name is Tim Whitlan. And he's a very funny actor in that. He plays kind of a similar character to here of like a bumbling husband. He's very funny. He's very funny. Also, that first opening shot with the embassy, there's a ticket that has WTF on it.
Oh, yes, I remember
and
that.
I thought that was very funny.
That was
I was
great.
like, lock the gates. Oh, and when... but yeah, I'll get to another thing. Sorry, it was very...
Yeah.
Yeah, anyway.
It was that ticket, I noticed that too.
And the husband is a drunk, and he's sitting there, he has a bottle of weed killer that is full of whiskey.
It's actually, it really looks like a bottle of bourbon. Like,
Yeah.
it's shaped like bourbon bottles that I've
He
seen.
wrote weed killer on it in Sharpie or whatever the equivalent is.
It's such a bizarre thing, because if you saw your significant other drinking out of a thing that said weed killer, like, wouldn't you? I mean,
he's
why
trying to
do you
sneak it, I guess, but
he
like...
is being like sneaky. Like he's off in like this like kind of shaded area. Like
Yeah.
he's like it's
He's
not
in, like,
quite
a-
a shed.
Yeah.
But, like it's kind of like a shed with a porch, and he's like on the porch, like kind of sneaking.
Yeah, porch shed.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the fact that he disguised it as weed killer
It is
instead of
very
like,
silly.
I don't know, cream soda.
Yeah.
Something else edible. Because
Yeah.
weed killer is...
Because if you just saw, like, for example, if you just saw someone drinking out of a bleach bottle, you'd be like, hey, are you okay?
Right, exactly.
What's good, dog?
Because at some point, I think either the aunt or the
Katrina.
niece. No. Sorry. The niece of the older woman, the wife. That's the word. The wife.
Mi esposa.
Mi esposo.
Mi esposa. Something off mic. Anyway.
Yeah, so if you just saw if the wife had noticed him drink, she was saying something about, oh, well, he has this one big problem, and it shows him like sitting with this bottle of weed killer.
It's that he's suicidal.
Right. Yeah. I know, it was the most bizarre thing.
Weakness of character.
Yeah.
But then we go to because the old lady, what's her name?
Miss Barrowby.
Miss Barrowby
Right.
wants to go to the garden party where Poirot is at.
Yes, they show her receiving her daily tea and medicine given to her by her caretaker. And on the table is the Royal Horticulture Society's... Oh! You know what that sound means? It's Agatha Christie's Baba Booey time, where we go around and share our favorite bit of Agatha Christie trivia.
Okay, I like that she wrote so many books. That's my favorite.
I like that she disappeared for many days and still no one knows why.
I like that she's a little bit racist and not afraid of it.
This is different beeping. Okay.
More beeping.
Okay. That was
That
very
sound
good.
ends the round.
Can I tell you? Excellent. Yes, and congratulations. But not only that, she's seeing a doctor, and he's prescribing something new for her indigestion, which is, we'll find out later, doubly important.
Yes.
Yes.
But that's where she also sees that Poirot, because Poirot is on the cover of this latest edition of
W
the
magazine.
Royal Horticulture Society's magazine.
Yes. Periodical, as one might assume. It comes out never.
She obviously came out. She has a copy. No, but.
Which is what they called me in high school. So, where we go. So we go. Yeah, I want to be just have an IQ of 5 and be dummy thick. That's my ideal form. So anyway, we go to the rose garden or whatever, and he's accepting. He's giving a speech, and this made me think about something very specific, and it's extras in crowd sequences where they're like clap for the character. It feels I've been kind of adjacent to that stuff, and I've had to do it. I was on the Deuce, and someone we needed to applaud someone, and it's so condescending. It just feels so weird because you're like, okay, applaud for this, and then there's this metatextual thing of like they're a proper actor and you're not, and it's very disheartening. And I could just my heart went out to these poor extras from the BBC.
Oh my goodness. I was an extra in a show where we were, I guess, college kids that were going to like a convention where we were testing entertainers. This was on Crashing. And it's aired a long time ago, like years ago, whatever. And yeah, we had to laugh for comedians.
Oh, that's terrible.
Cue. It was awful. And I was pretty close to the camera, so.
Can I tell you? There's a fun story with Gary Goldman, who's in the Joker movie. And he was doing like actual material from his stand-up, and it was working well, and like the crowd was responding. And then there was this one person. He's like, this one person's like laughing at the wrong time. He's really throwing me off, and I'm gonna like have to talk to the director. And it was Joaquin, and he's like, he did not put together like, oh, I see. That's the point of this scene, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, I do remember that there was one comedian who's a woman from SNL who came in and actually did a very funny bit that was really wonderful. But there was also, they had someone who was kind of purposely terrible that we were all supposed to love.
Ah, yeah.
And,
well, you're an actress. Do your acting.
Yeah, it was, that might have been the hardest acting I've ever had to do. Dumb jokes. For real. Over and over and over again because film.
Terrible.
Anyway.
But yeah, my heart went out to those extras. But then Jap and Hastings are with him, and Hastings has a terrible hair fever.
Yeah, he's sneezing it up, and you eventually, I mean, you originally
sneezing it up good.
You think that it's probably because of all the flowers, because there's a lot of flowers around, and he's very confused though, because he's not used to. This doesn't happen to him typically.
Yeah.
So
he's not a coward and a wuss, allergy wise.
Like me.
Yeah, and me.
Yeah.
Okay, Claritin every day, folks.
Maybe that's why my eye is watering right now, because I didn't take a Claritin yesterday.
Ooh.
Or this morning. Oh gosh.
Do you want one? I got like 6 in the back.
That'd be great.
Okay.
Today's episode is brought to you by Claritin. Be Claritin clear. Claritin.
Hey, Claritin, pay us. Thanks.
Or just give us free Claritin. It's like
either way.
Every time I go home to Minnesota, I will buy so much of the Walmart brand Claritin because it's like $5 for 60 pills. Whereas, like, here, it's, like, $25 for 2 pills, and it's terrible. That's my recommendation. Also, buy from Walmart.com. It's cheaper there, too, and they still ship to New York.
I regret putting us on a further tangent away from this episode, but I really don't understand why, our typical run-of-the-mill drug dealers in New York have not cornered the market on allergy medication and the like. I feel like this really get into a place where, like, you could really make some serious money.
Well, what is the stuff
Hey, do you want some NyQuil?
You know what I mean? But, like, the prices are getting ridiculous. And,
I would buy it.
If I was so inclined and felt like, I would be a bad drug dealer. But, like, I feel like...
Stop. Why? Why would you be a bad drug dealer?
Because, like, I'm not that slick.
Okay.
Like I would get caught.
You get nervous about it?
Yeah, I would get nervous. Like, I was in Denver and was still too nervous to go into a dispensary. It's completely illegal there, but, like, I, got to the door and it was like, oh, no, people are out. And I, stayed away.
Oh,
like an idiot.
That's sweet.
Just walk it. Can everyone please leave? I feel great shame about what I'm about to do.
Go in, walk up to the register, like, are you a cop? You have to tell me if you're a cop.
It's entrapment.
It's like, yeah, I'm a cop. I'm also buying my weed here because it's legal.
I don't want a high cop, though.
Everyone in here, take off your shirt. I need to see who's wearing what.
Hey, a cop could go home and smoke some pot on their off hours.
I just don't want a high cop on the job.
No.
Is what I'm saying. I don't want any crack cops. You know what I'm saying? New from NBC. Crack cops.
Oh, God.
Did you see South Dakota's like official anti-drug
No, why would I have ever
billboard?
seen that?
Because you're both on Twitter.
Oh, okay.
So it was their slogan is "Crack, we're on it." Like as if we're like on the case, but
wording. Oh,
yeah, but
choices.
no one told them. I was like, how did this get to a billboard?
Yeah, how did that not get edited? Oh, that's fun.
As someone who was raised in South Dakota, yup.
Indeed.
So they all have, so Jap and Hastings are there, and then so is the family, and Poirot bumps into this, to Mrs. Marrowby.
Well, Mrs. Marrowby bumps into him.
Yeah,
quite
literally.
on purpose.
Yeah, quite literally as well, because she's in a wheelchair.
And she tells...
quite possibly, like, the weirdest sequence I have ever seen in television. Because she sees him. Katrina is pushing her wheelchair to help her get around. She sees Poirot, and then, like, looks so, like... I've never seen someone, like, over-exaggerate being befuddled before.
Oh, yeah.
And then, so she, like, collects herself for, like, literally half a second. Gets Katrina, like, to go get her a glass of water.
Yes.
Then proceeds to going back to overacting. Like, starts grabbing packets of seeds from a shelf like a maniac. And then...
As a maniac, yes. We've all been in a grocer and we're like, no, I can plant a garden this spring, and then those seeds sit around for 3 years, and then eventually you get them, and then they don't grow.
Oh, that's never happened to me.
That has happened to me.
Yes, the optimism of gardening.
Some of the things grew, but anyway.
So she's grabbing the seeds. Poirot starts walking towards her. She, like, rams him with her wheelchair. Drops all the seed packets.
He's like, oh!
Poirot, like a gentleman, starts to go pick them up. And she's like, no, let me. And it's like...
You're in a wheelchair.
Yeah, like, really?
Oh, so strange.
Oh, it's bad. Like at
so
several
bizarre.
times, the husband does refer to. No, I think is it Jap refers to her as an old baddie woman, and I'm like she kind of is, or it's like the stereotype of it. It's very interesting. But she hands Poirot a seed packet that has Catherine the Great roses. And he's like, okay. And she's like, it's me.
Amelia Batterby.
And he's like, okay. And she, like, says it again and, like, leans and is like, uh-huh. And he's like, good to meet you.
No, but he's always very good. Even when he's confused about something like that, he's always good about making people feel important, I think.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And that's kind of, it feels like that's his assumption. It's like, okay, you think you're high society or something?
Or I think he always is on the case a little bit.
Yeah.
It's like, maybe there's something more to this.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what it is.
But anyway, they have this weird interaction, then Katrina comes back, and then...
Well, we, the audience, see that Mrs. Batterby sees that Katrina has a glass of water, but sees him talking to a gentleman in the distance. Mm-hmm. And that's when she slips the packet to Poirot, or more forcefully, makes him take this packet of seeds.
Yeah, because he's like, I don't want this.
Actually,
and she's like,
she plants the seeds on Poirot.
Yep.
Boom, done it.
She physically puts it in his lapel pocket.
Yeah.
Which is very intimate.
I actually did think about how intrusive that was.
Can I tell you? They also hand Poirot I was going to say a copy of his flower, like a specimen of his flower that the Hercule Poirot rose,
yes.
and he puts it in that little vase that was previously empty, and I was like, that's a very nice touch, and he wears it throughout the episode. It's very lovely.
Ah, I didn't bring your Christmas presents.
Oh, so. I still have not ordered your Christmas presents because I've been broke.
I didn't bring yours either. I was like, oh, I gave mine. Cool.
Yeah. Tyler made these very lovely ornaments custom-made silver bell ornaments, and they say Little Gray Bells, and then have our code names on it. You have one to match, I assume?
No, I didn't get one for myself.
You should get one for, what are you doing? Now you have to get a bell.
Gift.
You have to get a bell that says Jennifer Lopez.
Snubbed by the Academy. Maybe my heart always knew that was the case, so I had to wait for validation.
Did I tell you my friend John Marco's in Hustlers?
No.
Yeah, he's guy with glasses that goes, no, I can't go home with you, Jennifer Lopez.
I know exactly that scene.
Yeah, that's my friend John Marco.
Oh my god.
He did a very funny tweet of like, okay, so I didn't get nominated by the Academy this year, and it really hurts my feelings, but...
That's great.
But if you have not seen Hustlers, go see Hustlers.
Okay.
Uptown's got its Hustlers.
It is also, it's on video on demand as well. Like, I bought it on Prime.
Oh, okay.
So it is available for home viewing. And
Great.
it is in select theaters still.
Nice.
So then Katrina comes back with some water, and she's acting more befuddled, and then they kind of she's like, I want to go home.
Didn't she have an interaction? Didn't Katrina have an interaction with like her man friend?
Yeah. And they passed like some like either money or an exchange of goods had happened, which is kind of unclear as to how that pays off later to me, but we'll proceed.
Yeah.
She's acting shady.
Yes.
It seems.
And then...
Oh, no, it makes sense.
Okay.
We'll get to it.
And then Poirot and Hastings and Jap are all having a cup of tea.
Yeah.
And a snack, and they're all going, why did this weird old lady give you this seed packet?
Because what happens is Hastings' hay fever's acting up, and he asks Poirot for a handkerchief because his is wet,
which is disgusting,
but
also perfect. Everyone should use a hanky. Try to reduce your carbon footprint. Definitely. I carry a towel with me, so I don't have to use paper towels anymore.
No. You sneeze in the air and you infect the world. Darwinism.
Oh boy.
Survival of the fittest.
Getting brutal here. So Hastings needs a handkerchief, and Poirot goes to his lapel pocket and pulls out a hanky, and out fall the seed packet. Mm-hmm. And can I tell you, because of course the seed packet becomes important later, and I thought that there might have been something in the seed packet that Hastings accidentally blew his nose into. That's entered my brain.
Funny. That's very funny.
Yeah.
So yeah, they then inspect the seed packet and find out there's no seeds in it, and it's just an empty packet.
It's very funny. Chap has a great line. He's like, I don't think you're going to get a good flowering out of this. He's like, why? Isn't it a good rose? And he's like, no, there's no seeds in it. Which further baffles Poirot. Like, all right, it's not even a gift. What gives? Not her.
Nothing gives. So she had also said to Poirot that he should come over and hang out the following day.
Yes.
To chat.
Yes.
In those exact words, obviously. And
you up?
You up? Hey, Pete, you up? So...
Hastings, I do believe this old woman wants to bone me. I don't understand.
Note to my Reddit.
She wants to make love to the great Hercule Poirot. Anyway, so Poirot goes to his office, and on there's a letter, and the letter is from Miss Amelia Barnaby. And from Miss Amelia Barnaby.
Yes.
So, and it says, please help, I think someone's gonna murder me, essentially.
Basically.
But like...
Very long-winded.
Long-winded and like the most vague thing I have ever heard in my life.
She's like, I have suspicions.
Yes, the implications are there, but
it's
like,
about the implications.
So vague.
Yeah, it's real vague. So we also, as a little side plot, have Miss Lemon and Hastings going back and forth about this bill from Mr. Trumper. And Miss Lemon's like, don't deal with it. Let me figure it out. And Hastings is like, but he's He keeps coming, and I just want to pay him. And Miss Lemon's like, don't you dare. Don't do it. Anyway,
Yep.
That's just a sidebar.
Because Hastings is sick with a fever. He stays home, and Miss Lemon goes with Poirot, which is a nice thing that they did.
Yeah, it's great.
Specifically for Polly. They're like, great.
Yeah.
Now she has an actual part.
And she's so good.
Yeah, she's very fun.
So they go to Miss Barraby's house.
Beautiful garden.
Yeah.
Huge garden.
No. No.
No.
No.
It's not
No?
a beautiful garden?
No. It's nice, but no. But
Okay.
even more than that, we have a scene prior to Poirot and
Richard
Miss Lemon,
prior to Poirot.
Okay.
going to the house where we see Katrina give Mrs. Barraby her medication.
Right.
This is
This
important.
is actually important.
Denise is out in the garden working on her half-assed. I forget what that portion of the garden is.
Edging the garden.
Not edging.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, we're not going to talk about edging here.
Okay. I'm not gonna talk about that edging, and like edging is more like just like making sure like the
Yeah, the garden does not overgrow.
yeah
Yeah.
Like it's,
preventing.
like, all-
and she's
Right.
using shells.
Yeah, she's
Oyster
using-
shells.
yeah
There's that
to
moment.
line. It's not like it box for lack of a better term. It's just like
boxing it in.
yeah.
Can I tell you? There's that moment in that song, potato, tomato, let's call the whole thing off. That whole thing.
Yeah.
What's that song called? The actual title? But
I
there's
don't
this
remember.
moment.
It's by George Gershwin, though.
But
Yeah.
there's this moment where one of the lines is, you say oysters and I say oysters.
Yeah.
No one says oysters. Maybe from Maine. I don't know. What is that? Who says oysters? Please tweet at me at Tristan J. Miller 1 for this oyster mystery to be solved.
Yeah, no, it does. It's very strange.
This erstery, if you will.
Ira Gershwin. What were you thinking?
What was his first name?
Ira.
Ira.
The lyricist is Ira. George
And-
is the music.
Okay.
So the niece is out in the garden doing whatever. Mrs. Barraby takes her medication, and very swiftly you get the sense that something is not right here.
Mm-hmm.
And then before you know it,
She's
she
seizing
is
up.
succumbing to the slowest death imaginable.
Yeah.
It is so awkward and really kind of, it's hard to watch. 'Cause,
She's-
there's like a period where I was like, maybe she's gonna live, maybe they're gonna get
Yeah,
to the
yeah,
doctor
yeah.
in time because she's
No.
taking so long.
Right, yeah, I thought that too. But
And-
no.
and
But
the-
she can't find her bell. She's like knocking things over. Katrina rushes back into the room. Denise hears a commotion from outside, comes in. Those two women start arguing. The husband hears it. They yell at the husband to get the doctor.
And he says, what? And then
Yeah.
she's like, the doctor, you idiot. And he's like, oh. It's very funny. Beautiful comedic performance here.
Yeah. And then
And then Poirot
And Miss Lemon come
roll
over.
up the next day. And he's like, what a beautiful garden. He's like, it reminds me of the nursery rhyme because he finds the bell that she uses.
Which is silver.
Bell. Silver bell.
And then cockle shells, but it's really oyster shells or whatever.
Oyster shells.
Yeah. And the woman's...
What is a cockle?
It's a, kind of
Cockles
mollusk
and mussels
thing.
alive-o.
It's a shellfish.
There's a shellfish.
Yeah.
You know, little shellfish. Shelf-focused.
It's a good joke, Tristan.
oh, it's I'm showing these shells.
Oh, these
Yeah,
shells,
there's,
these
like-
shells on these
Yeah,
shores.
okay.
Yeah.
I'm
Oh.
making myself laugh. So anyway, they show up and the maid is like, "Oh, don't you hear? She's died, isn't it? She's gone and died. Very sad moment." And then they go and they talk to the niece, and they're like, "What happened?" And they're like this, and then they have a very interesting altercation with Katrina. And he walks in.
Katrina comes in talking about asking if Poirot's a lawyer.
Yeah, and he's like, "No," and she's like, "Well, yeah."
She wrote it, and this. I'm not saying this perfectly. but she wrote it, and that's all there is to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Something along those lines. Like,
'Cause-
she's very, ambiguous.
Yeah.
Because Poirot does something very smart when he said, well, why do you think I would be a lawyer? Rather than just saying no, so that he can hear what she has to say to a lawyer. Like, why was that the automatic assumption?
And basically they interview the husband and wife, and they're like, I bet it's that dirty Russian that did it. And that's kind of the whole point of the conversation.
Yeah, and Poirot in this scene also speaks about the fact that Miss Burby wrote a letter, and they start to inquire as to what the letter pertained to, and he will not let them know.
No.
Yeah.
He does not clue them in. And
Not at all.
It's because when they first arrived onto the property, something catches Poirot's eye and automatically makes him suspicious and makes him think that there's something more to the story than he already previously had thought.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then he gets in a cab, and the cab goes, "Where to, mister?" And he's like, and it's clearly Jap, which is very fun. Because it's fun hearing that actor do a silly voice. And then they're like already on the case, and now Jap is involved.
Yeah.
So they do
They saw that Jap's men were already in place, and that's what Poirot saw when he pulled up.
Yes. And they do find out. They go to like the medical examiner, basically.
The coroner, yeah.
Yeah, the coroner. And they do find out that it was indeed strychnine poisoning, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So...
And they're trying to figure out where it came from. Miss Lemon talks to the cook. They all eat the same thing. It wasn't in the coffee because she would notice it right away for that amount of strychnine.
Apparently strychnine is very
Bitter.
pungent. Yeah,
Very
notice. You'll notice. So, and then they go somewhere else. And I forget. Where is it?
Is it back to the office? Yeah, they go back to the office. Jap's there too.
Okay.
And then Miss Lemon confronts Hastings because he's paid the bill.
No, not yet.
No, not yet.
Oh.
They do find out, however, that Katrina has, like, pieced out.
Yeah, she's
No
gone.
one can find her.
She's...
Yes.
Oh, right. And because they go to the embassy.
Yeah.
They go to the embassy, and Poirot is like, what is the opiate of the masses? And the Russian embassy worker gives the wrong answer.
No. I mean,
Yes, that happens.
That happens. But we're missing a bit beforehand.
Yes.
I don't recall exactly where they went, but we do find out, yes, that she is gone because we go back to the house.
Yeah.
And we see Jap admonishing his men.
Oh, right.
Because she had escaped.
Yes. And so they go to find it, and they go to the embassy because they're like, okay, you got to track her down. She must have a record. And there's no one by that name here. Stalin does not have bad records, which is very interesting.
Yeah.
And then he's like, what is the opioid of the masses? Because also throughout this entire thing in the house, there's a bunch of Catholic iconography, and she clearly has like a little shrine. Mm-hmm. And he's like, he gives the wrong answer. I can't remember what he says, but he goes.
He says popular fiction.
Yeah, which is a funny jab.
Yeah.
At religion, it's like that'll show him. But Poirot has Jap look around for a Russian church. And he goes there and he interviews Katrina, who is hiding out there. And then Katrina volunteers herself to be put into custody at the end of it.
Because it's also revealed in that interview that she was former Russian aristocracy.
Yes.
Yeah, Poirot says something to her about, it must be difficult for you to work for people when you used to have people working for you. And she gets kind of... defensive, like, oh, I'm not afraid of hard work, and it's like, oh, okay, cool, that's fair enough. Mm-hmm. So
she's in custody, and then Poirot goes back to
Now we're back to the office.
Now we're back to the office.
Now we have the moment between Hastings and Miss Lemon.
The eureka moment.
Right. So Hastings has apparently paid Mr. Trumper, and Miss Lemon comes in
so sorry.
I know,
that name is so bad.
I know.
Oh,
So
what
many.
a terrible name.
But Miss Lemon is...
They're the only ones that know a Trumper. Okay.
Yeah. Sounds like you can. Sounds like the English version of farter. Like, what are you talking? Like, what are you doing? Naming yourselves that.
Yep. But Miss Lemon comes in furious.
She's livid, positively.
Livid at Hastings. And she says, essentially, you can't do this. You can't pay them in cash because next time they won't think that the checks are going to be good.
Yes.
And Poirot's like...
They'll never forget your face.
Right. And then Poirot goes, but of course.
Mon Dieu.
Some
Mountain Dew.
And so he does the Poirot thing where he's like, all right, come on, let's go. And everyone's like, what just happened? I don't understand.
Yeah. And they go to a fishmonger. Mm-hmm. They want to go speak to a fishmonger. And they go speak to a fishmonger, then they go back to their home, and he interviews the husband and wife.
Out in the garden.
In the garden. And I think we should take a break.
Yeah.
Here. Hey everybody, it's Tristan, the Saucy Sleuth, here to remind you that we're on the Scavengers Network. They have a great many things available, including merchandise from their podcast and various podcasts on it, along with other content. The one that's recently catching my eye, and I'm going to look through this, is the Podcast Outreach Program, or POP. It's basically a masterclass that they give out to local high schools, as well as panels and at conventions to try and practice the art of podcasting and figuring out how to do it yourself. You can also check out Historical Hotties, which is one of my favorites because I've been on it, as has Melissa. There's also State Your Case and I Don't Know Radio. Here at Scavengers Network, there's a little bit of everything for a little bit of everyone. You can support us by going to patreon.com/ADCpod. We have exclusive bonus clips. They're available for you at like the $1 level, and we're also going to start in this new year really cranking out bonus episodes. We're trying to work on a commentary for a movie and stuff like that, and it should be a grand old time. And it's worth it, I think. You got a lot of bonus content. You also get access to the episodes early when available, which is often. So please go check us out there. Once again, the Audible trial code is audibletrial.com/ADCpod. You can follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, also at ADCpod. All right, that's enough from me for now. Here's more of me, but also the other two. Thank you for listening. It's appreciated. And we're back.
Oh boy.
Man, I was competent in speaking in that last ad break.
Gosh, it was the best ad break you've ever done.
Yeah.
No pressure.
Yeah. I'm gonna purposely
make it terrible.
Yeah. It's not even gonna be me. I'm gonna get a friend to do it. Sorry, that'd be very funny. But yeah, so they were sitting in the garden. It's a garden reveal rather than a parlor reveal. Basically, yes, Tyler?
It should also, maybe we did mention this and I kind of blacked out for a moment, which is possible. As
you were wont to do. You are drunk.
It's like not even noon, so of course.
Yeah. It's noon somewhere.
Katrina gets everything in the will.
Oh, yeah. Yes, that's very important. My house, my rules, my coffee. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that should be mentioned.
Yeah. Which makes it very obvious that, like, clearly she's the one that killed her because she was the last person to touch the medicine. Yeah. And she gets everything in the will.
And that's why she says what she says to Poirot when...
He's basically like, you two did it. And they're like, what are you talking about? And it's like, you hated her.
You knew that...
money because they were playing with stocks, which the doctor mentions. That's where they go that we couldn't remember. They go speak to the doctor.
Right.
And the doctor said, no more monkeys jumping on the bed. And so the doctor was like,
Oh my God.
What? Okay.
We also forgot about the ponies.
Oh my God.
Oh, who gives a
It was the
That's where they
weirdest
meet
thing.
the solicitor that tells us about the will.
Yes. There's this weird scene with a pony, and it's
Very ponies.
So he's like judging a horse contest. And he says, so I can't tell you what I know, but look at these 2 older ponies that everyone knows and is familiar with. And look at this brand new pony.
That's a foreigner.
Yeah. Not from around here.
yeah. Oh,
And-
the subtlety.
But it's such a good pony. And you know what?
It's gonna
The
win.
new pony is gonna win. The new pony takes the prize. And then looks meaningfully at Poirot like, Poirot's like, I completely understand.
Which is quite good and quite smart
Yeah.
because he cannot,
Legally, yeah.
So that's his way of like letting him know without breaking confidence.
Mm-hmm. So they lost a lot of money in the stocks, which is why they're completely reliant on their on this, on the aunt, and then
They find out that the caretaker is going to be the
everything.
inheritor.
yeah,
So
I think it's so mad
so mad they conspire to kill the aunt.
and make it look like it's not valid and that kind of thing, because there's that rule, as we learned in Knives Out, that if you are suspected of murdering the person that gives you the stuff, you no longer have the stuff.
Was that not a known thing?
No, what it is like,
Oh.
yeah. So that is the law. I'm assuming they're hoping
Probably.
to. And they're like, well, and they're like, no. And he's like, you got a bunch of oysters that your aunt loves, and you put the strychnine in that, and she was gobbling them down so quick because the woman admits it because her husband's like, well, he got us, and she's like, you fucking idiot.
Yeah.
Yep.
And she's like, fine, I did it. I put it in the oysters. And then she attempts to run away.
It's so funny.
Because she's like oh, I wanted to mention this. She pronounces Poirot's name Poirot twice. Once when she's trying to endear herself to him.
Right.
And then the second time when she's being quite rude to him. And she's like, Mr. Poirot. And it's very funny. But she tries to run away, and she has it surrounded, and then she goes to the shed and tries to drink
The weed killer.
the weed killer. And there's this beautiful moment, she's like, whiskey, and he's just like, sorry, dear. And it was very... I like how he had to apologize for not letting her kill herself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, it is quite a comical moment, but like also she's like, now I'm gonna be hanged. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have this public hanging instead of like being able to go out on my own terms.
All right.
It's so dramatic, hanging.
So then we're back to the office.
Yeah.
And Hastings still can't figure out why he had this hay fever.
it went away for a little bit.
Yeah.
And then it comes back.
And then...
Everyone's in the office.
And so they start sniffing. They start like, trying to figure out. It's like, wait, hold on. Oh no, it's back now. Oh, what could be near me? And we of course go to the flowers. No, it's not the flowers. And then we figure out he starts sniffing Poirot. And
Have you tried this new drug, man?
and it turns out Poirot has been wearing a cologne.
In
That-
quotes.
That Hastings is very allergic to.
Yep.
It's very funny.
And he gets very angry, and he's like, everybody out!
Yeah.
Out! I am a man!
I completely understand that feeling when you've done something that you think is innocuous and it's harming people.
Yeah.
And it makes me mad.
It does. There's nothing worse than accidentally hurting someone.
Yeah.
Other than trying to hurt someone and not.
Yeah.
Right. But
No,
like,
that's not.
Been there.
and then people...
Well, you did almost hit me with a car, so, you missed. You missed.
Because then people come over to you and they're like, oh, you can't do that normal thing that you were just doing that was harmless. And you're like, no, screw you.
Mm-hmm.
Well, fine.
Why don't you eat my whole ass?
Yeah. basically.
All right, so let's get into the ratings.
Yeah.
Okay.
I quite like this one. I'd give it a 3.5 or 4 out of 5. Like, it's fun. There's a lot of comedic moments. The core cast has really glommed together and has been quite good. Seeing Miss Lemon as much as we did is a nice, refreshing breath of fresh air. Oh, right, and the man that the Russian woman kept meeting with is, like, her boyfriend.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's lovely. And that I literally, I was emotionally moved by. I thought that was quite sweet.
Yeah.
And I liked that a lot. I liked it. Good episode.
I would also give it about a 3.5. I liked it. I was very concerned all the way up until the end that it was just going to be Katrina. And I don't know why, because it was one of those, it was so obvious that if that had been the solution, it would have been a bad episode.
Yeah, and it was also introduced in, like, Act 2. And so, like, I felt that same way about Knives Out, of, like, okay, this is in Act 2, it can't possibly be this.
Right. But, yeah, it was I don't know why I thought that maybe it was going to go there, because I feel like it just waited for such a long period of time, and there weren't, like, a lot of red herrings. Well, there was a big red herring, but not...
A red oyster.
Yeah, there weren't a lot of, like, twists and turns along the way. It was just kind of a straight line.
Again, Russia was a red herring.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed. So yeah, but ultimately in the end, it did turn out to be someone else, and we got that wonderful funny ending, which was a delight.
I suspected the Doctor for a very long time as well. I thought that would have been very interesting and very fun. But alas and alack.
Yeah.
Tyler.
I give it 4.5 out of 5.
Great.
I really had a great time with this. It reminded me... it just gave me feels of Midsummer Murders, which is, like, my favorite of all time detective series. And I really hope we start to cover it at some point down the line. So it gave me, like, feels of that, and I haven't watched that in quite some time. So it was like, oh, this is charming, this is fun, but also still, like, with the undertone of darkness. I enjoyed it.
We should each pick our favorite. I mean, we already did Murder, She Wrote for you.
Yeah, we did that one episode.
Yeah.
Done forever.
Yeah. Well, no, we should pick, like, one of our favorites, murder, like, procedural or whatever, mystery, and do, like, an off episode about that one, like, with Midsummer. And I think, for me, it would probably be Death in Paradise. I really like that one.
Okay.
So, that's also,
yeah. But good. I'm glad we're all on board with this one. I was a little worried that one of you would be like, Mrr.
Sometimes I can't tell when Tyler likes something.
Yeah. Which is the crux of the anxiety that I feel about our friendship.
All right. I think that's a good note to end on.
Yep. Follow us on social media. We got a Patreon. Okay. Goodbye.
Jennifer Lopez was snubbed.
At ADC Pod on both Twitter and Instagram.
And Facebook.
Gavel sound?
最初啊